Hello, women of the channel. I'm Jackie Rives, your community leader, and welcome to another Woman of the Week. This week, we have the pleasure of getting to know Laura Garrido, VP Integrated Marketing, Field Channel and Alliances with Mimecast. Hi, Laura. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, Jackie. So glad to be here with you.
Yes, well, I'm really excited to get to know you. So let's start with some icebreakers. Where do you live and where did you grow up, if that's different?
It is actually. So I come from a small village in the south of Spain, and I do live in Paris because since I was a
Oh.
kid, I dream about living abroad and traveling so much. So I started learning languages when I was like 8, 9. I learned a few languages, and then I actually that's a fun fact. But I bought a one-way flight ticket to the US when I was 18. And since then, it's been 20 years. I've lived in 6 countries. I've traveled all over the world. And then now I'm based in Paris.
That is extraordinary. One, I always envy people who can speak multiple languages. That's like something I wish I could do. Even with 5 years of French in high school, I don't think I took it serious enough to remember anything but the basics. But
But
to live in so many places is extraordinary.
yeah, I've always loved learning languages, and I know it's always like a fun fact when someone knows me. It's like, how many languages do you speak? And I'm like, I speak 6. But then that allow me to live in so many countries. So I'm Spanish, but then university in the Netherlands. I lived in Italy. I lived in Singapore. I lived in the US. So I've done pretty much everything.
Wow, that's amazing. All right. Outside of work, what is something you genuinely love spending your time on?
Well, I guess on the travel topic, traveling. Uh,
Yeah.
I've always done that. Now I'm trying to get the kids into that as well because I didn't have that opportunity when I was a kid, and I want them to leave that. And apart from traveling, I guess I always say I'm too Spanish. I'm too cliche. So I'm very social. I love hosting people at home. I've danced flamenco for like 15 years. I love watching football, playing tennis. So yeah, anything outside. I need sun and people, and I'm fine.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I mean, it's only been well, I don't even know if it's been a few minutes yet because I'm not watching the clock, but wow, I feel like I've learned so much about you. I just want to know more. Okay. What is something about your career journey that might surprise people?
I guess that's multicultural fact as
Hmm.
well. I know that now as a VP, I have a global role, but usually people come to a global role from, a North America or an EMEA. I started in, Southern Europe, then I got Central Europe, then why don't you take Northern Europe, then Middle East and Africa, then, oh, you speak Spanish, take LATAM. And then I moved to Singapore. Why don't you take APG? Why don't you do ANZ? So I've actually done pretty much every region before taking my global role. And I think I've been so lucky in my career to have mentors, really, really good mentors along the way that have given me the opportunity of traveling, following, changing regions, learning. I just, I don't know how to say no to learning and taking new challenges. So I've done pretty much everything from the marketing perspective. I've done field and partner and communications and PR. And, I'm always that learning anything on cultural differences. I just wrote a blog actually with you all talking about being the accent in the room, or being
Mm.
that what's wrong with that Spanish girl that actually take a seat in a table that I would have never thought I would, or having the opportunity like today talking with you it's I guess it's just expanding and opening the eyes into the world that helped me to do that.
Yeah, I love that you just mentioned your blog. So, listeners, if you haven't read her blog yet, you should totally do that. The minute you brought it up, I went back to even like how I commented on it. Yes, it was a fantastic blog.
Thank you.
Okay, how do you differentiate yourself as a leader in your organization?
Good question. I think I always say I lead by being myself. I every time that I meet someone in my team or new to the company, I always like to say, for the good and the bad, the better or the worse, what you see is what you get. Like, I'm too transparent, and you can tell, right?
Mm-hmm.
And once in my career, someone said, Laura, you are amazing, but you're just too human. Sometimes, if you want to become an executive one day, you may need to put your humanity on a side. And, that made me think a lot. I ended up, leaving that company. But then I was like, I just couldn't do that anyhow else. I just, of course, I'm about, yes, we have business is business and things need to get done, but I care about people.
Yeah.
I just cannot do that otherwise. I care about my team. I care about how they feel, how they experience. And yes, we're all there to get, results at the end of the day and ROI, but I just cannot do that otherwise. I have to be close to them. I'm close. I'm human. I care about them, about their, balance. And, I just hope that when they leave the company or we just, stop working together, they just remind me as someone that really care about them. So I guess, yeah, being myself.
Yeah. No, I think that is definitely an admirable quality. I do feel like in the past, like many years ago, maybe earlier in my career, that was something that I do remember, like keep your personal life personal, like it's all about work at work. But I feel like that human connection just bonds teams, which then bonds like you get buy-in and they want to succeed together because we're invested in each other because we are humans and we do have all these, things in our personal life that we care
Absolutely.
about or going through. So, no, I think that is an admirable quality.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Was there, your background is so extraordinary. It leaves me wondering, was there ever a moment where you doubted yourself or felt underqualified? And if so, how did you work through that?
I guess we all do, right? It
Yeah.
happened to me so many times. Like every time I got a new scope or new region or I got promoted, we all doubt, right? But I guess that imposter syndrome fades when you really get into that. Again, I'm
Mhm.
always saying hard work pays off. So when you get into that, you actually do it. Most of the times I just realized that, I was stronger than I thought. So doubts every single time, I was gonna say almost every single day, but then you just do it and you realize that you actually can do that and even more.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm glad that this question comes up a lot. I mean, we've heard the word imposter syndrome for, you know, quite a few years now. But before that, like it was, fake it till you make it, and you just don't talk about it, or you just don't let people see you sweat. And
Absolutely.
there's so much value in learning. Like the more I talk to people, the more I hear like I love to learn and continuously learn. And so, I mean, if you're not a lifelong learner or someone likes to challenge themselves, then you're definitely not going to feel underqualified because you're going to be a master at what you're doing
Absolutely.
forever.
And talking about being real is like don't fake it, and we cannot know
Yeah.
everything. So just admit you've been given the opportunity. You may not know everything, but you have to surround yourself with people better than yourself, and that you have that expertise that you don't have, and then just learning one from the other. Like we are not just ourselves knowing everything. Of course we don't, but it's just being willing to learn along the way.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. All right. One piece of advice you'd give your past self or your future self.
I would say never forget not to be real, not to be you, or,
Mhm.
don't ever doubt that being real and just prevent fake pics and all that stuff might be negative for your career. Because even if one day it is, then that's not your right place. I see that now. Mimecast, I feel like I can be myself. I can have good days, I can have bad days. That's how it is. Again, you get what you see what you get. But never doubt about being real and any negative impact to that for your career, because it doesn't. When you are real, when you believe and you're passionate about what you do and you do that, do good by being good. I guess that's the strongest piece of advice.
That is some fantastic advice and a great way to close this interview. Laura, thank you so much for spending time with me
Thank
today and
you.
allowing us to celebrate you as our Woman of the Week.
Thank you so much, Jackie. Thanks to you for your time and for the opportunity.
Absolutely. All right, community members. I am certain you took some insights from this. Be sure to give Laura some high fives and share yours because this is how we continue to grow and learn together. So until next time, have an amazing week.